Hello, it's me again, Big Machine. Um, so, gonna be doing something slightly different today, in that we're not gonna be doing a new series necessarily, but we are going to be doing a new type of locomotive, which the previous three were steam, and now we're finally getting to do a diesel. Um, I was initially going to do a GP30, although I felt the popularity of the SD40-2 warranted me kind of doing this or pushing this video up a little bit. Um, of which specifically today I'm going to teach you how to do the low hood and the high hood versions. I'm going to teach you a few different configurations because these are very simple builds. But otherwise, yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go over here to the workshop. Okay. Start by creating a new train. We're also going to, so for bogies, we're going to pick specifically the medium trailing trucks because these are the longest tri-axle bogies that we've got. And we are going to be building our own frames and casing around these, but I do want to just confirm that, like, this is the base, just for simplicity when it comes to gluing. Because that's the thing with the diesels, is you can essentially just glue them all as one box, as opposed to just many different boxes, like with a steam locomotive, right? So specifically, I'm going to go ahead and just copy over these trucks, or sorry, just one of these trucks, so that way I have a reference and I can teach you how to do one of them. Alright, that's going to be about 8 blocks apart. So we're going to go ahead and place this right here. Oops. Okay, and then we're going to go back about 8 blocks, and then we're going to start another truck. These are each going to be about 5 blocks long, and I want to say this will be similar to how I do the trailing trucks on my steam locomotives, but really it's not. This is a very different process, honestly. But okay, we're going to grab some copycat slabs with specifically rearward facing metal supports. We're also going to grab some basins and these slices right here. So we're going to place our first basin, and, well, we're going to go ahead and place all 3, or rather all 6 basins for all 6 axles. And then we're going to go ahead and do slab, 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 boom, slab. Make sure those are horizontal on the x-axis, not on the y-axis vertically. Place the slab, slab, slab under the basin specifically, and we do have to rotate these all the way around. And then we also are going to have to add these slices along the bottom half, or sorry, along the top half of the slabs. I'm going to go ahead and do this on both sides. Boom. And there. Okay. Now for the centers of the bogie, we're going to go for these gray steel tanks. And then for the other details, we're going to go for these copycat slabs, or sorry, these copycat layers with the gray locomotive pillars inside. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And repeat to the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm realizing this is a very steam-centric shed that I've made, so for future reference I might build a diesel shed, but it's just specifically these smokestacks that are a little off-putting. Next we're going to grab some copycat, are these byte panels? Yeah. Copycat byte panels. Place these not in there. You have to make sure you're not placing blocks inside of the basin, because that means it will pick up specifically that block. Also going to place these slices here as well. This is going to be a layer 2. This is layer 1. So in these byte panels, we're going to go ahead and throw in some industrial iron boilers and some metal some middle diagonal supports, which those are going to face towards these, and these are going to face horizontal, horizontal, toward. Okay. And we're going to do our byte panels. Byte panel, here we go. And we're doing, again, the same thing on the other side, because diesels are less symmetrical than you think they are, surprisingly, but they are still relatively symmetrical, especially when it comes to the trucks, at least to my knowledge. Okay, those are your bogies. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the catwalks, or foot porches on either side. So we're going to grab some catwalk stairs, some specifically industrial iron ones. One, two. Repeat to the other side. Okay. We're going to grab some bar panels from decorative blocks. And you know what? We're actually just going to do one side and then repeat that instead of doing it all at the same time and flying back and forth. We're also going to extend these slices up to here as well. Okay. Then from here, we're going to grab some more byte panels. So we're going to do 1, 2, and 3 to match with the alignment of the stairs. 1, 2, 3. And then in here, we have to fit the coupler, so we're going to leave that blank. But we are going to go down here and do 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to place a block here and do 2 down here. Which there is also a way to do instead more like foothold style bits. So if you want that kind of accuracy, you can go for some corner. There we are. Some of these deep slate corner trims. So all you're going to do for that is just actually replace those with bytes. My bad, because you do want those to kind of pop a bit. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, boop. Of which we are going to actually keep that for this model because I think that looks nice. Okay, now I'm going to start iron. I'm going to grab our plating. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to throw one of these right here. These are industrial iron floors from Design Decor. Alright, we're going to place another gray steel tank there. We're going to grab a copycat headstock with a knuckle coupler. Throw that right there. Right. Actually, yeah, lower block works. So that way we can do something like that. Okay. That is going to be your front. Of which we do have to do the railings, of which that's going to be more industrial iron. So, or well, rather, Design Decor calls them iron railings. So just the iron then. Of which we are going to place these on the inside. I'm going to grab some more slices and do 1, 2, 3. And we're going to grab some more slices and do the vertical ones and the corner ones. Do 1, 2, okay, I guess not corners, 3. 1, 2, there we are. I'm going to grab our gray loco metal and throw that in there as well, but we are going to do corner ones down here so that these connect. Okay. And then furthermore, all you really have to do are these vertical slices, which are going to go 2 blocks up, and then we're going to leave that as is for now. But we are going to repeat that entire thing to the other side. Yippee. Okay. So we're going to grab bar panels, slices, corner slices, vertical slices, these railings. Boop. And we're going to throw that down there, 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 there. Boop, 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 boop. Come on. There we go. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and do these railings right here, except we are going to make the same mistake and do them on the inside. Horizontal slices. Okay, and then that's most of that done. We just have to do the actual front bit. Okay, bite panels. Bite panels, headstock with the knuckle, and then these copycat bites. Break that. Make sure you grab that as well, and actually place this in here. Okay. I'm going to grab our bite panels and just throw those right there, which you can just build them off the track, surprisingly. Grab these. Oh, wait, hold on. I did this wrong. Put that track back there. And I believe, yep. There we go. Place the coupler there as well. But we do need to do the bite panels specifically. That configuration, and in that configuration. Okay. There we are. And if you'd like as well, you can just remove this and just put the track there. That's easier, and it is also a configuration. So you're not wrong in doing that. Might look slightly strange, but you're not wrong. Okay. Now we get to do the fuel tank, of which, let me examine. So, okay. So first off, we're going to go ahead and grab specifically some gray locometal and throw that on either side here. No, actually. Okay. Let me go properly examine this and how I did this. Alright, so we've got the cap right here. Then we need to do full length tank. Full length tank, what the hell was that? Full length tank. And then pipes going from this basin to there. And that's going to repeat to the other side. Okay, cool. That makes sense. So we're going to add a gray steel tank right there. We're going to add some gray pipes with brackets in them. Come on. There we are. Okay, bracket that. We're going to add our fuel tanks. And do not worry, this is not the only fuel storage that I'm going to give this thing. Because inside the rest of the body, that is pretty much just blank space, so you can just throw in as many fuel tanks as you want. Of which, under certain circumstances, that might make this thing a little more overpowered, and that it can hold a lot of fuel, but eh. Okay, we're going to grab a gray locometal trapdoor. Now, normally the bases of these locomotives would be black, but specifically, I'm doing industrial iron just for the sake of being able to use these extra bits, because there's not really much that's in black or just black stone even that is usable in that regard. Then we're going to grab some steps with some industrial iron boilers. Okay, and we're going to throw these under here just as like a little bit of set dressing. And we're going to do the same thing under these pipes. 1, 2. And from there, we're going to grab some copycat stacked half layers. And we do actually have to grab some slabs, my bad. Slab. Right, copycat slab. Okay. Now, basically we're going to create a shell around the tank using copycats, because this doesn't match color-wise with the rest of what we're going for, so we're going to cover it up the much we can, or the most we can. So, slab. Boop, 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 boop. And slab. Boop. Place those back. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. Now we're going to go out, I think, about 3 blocks, or 3 layers. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to actually make sure that that's right real quick. I believe it is. And yes, that would be about 3 layers. Okay, cool. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're gonna do these about, I'd say 1. That's probably about right. But we're gonna repeat the same thing to the other side. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. All right. Now we just essentially spam the industrial iron. Because while the material might not be exactly right, it's honestly just close enough. And we are actually going to grab our slabs to fill in this area. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So this way, it gives the tank more of a shape from behind. Because otherwise you're just going to be fully able to view those these tank textures, the actual SNR fuel tanks. Like specifically, we're doing a lot here to cover up things that we don't like. So specifically, these steps cover up that there's a gap right there, and that we can't necessarily fill that due to the rails having to be there. And again, we're doing the industrial iron coating or shell to kind of help with the tank texture not being to our liking for this specific build. So next we grab some industrial iron boilers, and it looks like we're also going to grab some cut blank deep slate from Chipped. Okay, industrial iron boilers, cool. And so those are going to go about 1 block, or 1 layer, and these are going to go about 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, cool. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and just place these there. Make sure those are sideways as well. And the reason we're doing these is because there is a sort of reservoir on either side of the fuel tank. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it is relatively round, and these are relatively round and work for that appearance. All right, so this diesel base is already pretty good. This is a very versatile build. You can use this for just about anything. Anything that uses specifically the HTC trucks by EMD. You can absolutely go ahead and exchange the trucks for something else as well, but this is a very good foundation to build diesels off of. Okay, so then from here we're going to start on the cab, which all we're going to need are, okay, as well, I'm doing these diesels in specifically the Bonetown system numbering and lettering, and basically a black livery, because, so a little bit of history for you. Steam locomotives specifically were designed and drawn up by the railroads themselves, and then they were built by the builders and manufacturers. So the builders were just manufacturers and nothing more. Although they did try to build their own designs and create their own locomotives, generally speaking, the railroads would ask for what they needed, right? With diesels, primarily these were bought off the shelf, these were bought out of catalogs. Like, hey, we made this for you. Would you like this? Sure, send us 50 of them with like X or Y modification, because there were certain different variations on the SD40-2 as well. Like, I believe there were definitely a few passenger models of this, I believe. Unless I'm mistaking that for the GP40, because I might be. But thinking of specifically like CAL units and the Canadian variants, those are the main ones I would say that I can name off the top of my head, because I don't actually know many things about this one. Yeah, I'm not as much of a nerd about diesels as I am about Steam or Mohawks. I love Mohawks. Anyways, so cab. Oh, right. Okay. Sorry, I need to get to what my point actually was with even saying any of that. Basically, these came in hundreds of different liveries or paint schemes. So I might do a video showing you a key few that I felt I liked enough that they were important, right? But currently I'm just gonna go with plain black and you can go from there. Because if I show you how to do one, then you can kind of do whatever colors you want. Uh, I will also show off real quick. Um, Let me go and teleport here. So specifically, livery-wise for diesels, I did come up with this for the Bone Tan system, which is very heavily based on the Southern Pacific bloody nose scheme, in that you've got the nose up here, and then you've also got these lines along the side, of which those are my own addition, but yeah. This is basically just one example of a livery that you can do. Another example is down here, of which this is a magenta version of the Burlington Northern livery, because I was trying out doing a pink diesel, because, you know, I'm me. Okay, so let's get back to the build, actually, before I get way off track. But point is, this is customizable. Do whatever paint scheme you want. Okay, grab our smoke boxes. As well, we're going to grab some copycats. Specifically the stacked half layers, I believe it was. Okay. Then we're going to grab our black slash locometal. And we're going to do... Which block was it specifically? It was above the center axle, such as that. Okay. There's going to be 2 blocks wide. And we're going to go ahead and do these stacked half layers on either side. Okay, I'm going to grab these smoke boxes and do these on this side as well as the black slash locometal. And then we're going to grab more filler blocks and grab some more copycat layers, the verticals specifically. Okay. Then we're going to go and do the black tanks. Same as I would do on a steam loco, we're going to do these on either side here. Specifically, these are the sideways versions. And then as well as that, we're going to go ahead and grab... So you can use dark oak for this, but I'm using specifically my windows. Loco metal. Yes, because these are technically a little bit more accurate. All right. Then we're going to go ahead and do the top of the tab. The top of the cab. Using these half panels and these layers, not slabs. Do need to analyze specifically how this was done. Okay, so that's a layer 4. That's going to be about a layer 5 or 6, looks like. Looks like 6. Okay, cool. We also have slices on either side up to about... hold on. Those slices are on layer 2, which means these side pieces also have to be layer 2, but we are going to leave that there, so there's a bit of a stair effect. So that way there is a sort of transition. There we go. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry, that's not right. Half layers. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boop. And we are going to do the same thing we did with the steam locomotives, and we're going to do the black, or cut blank blackstone for the top. There we are. Just for the sake of consistency, and I feel like that here it looks nice. It's not necessarily accurate to the weathered coal look that we were going for last time, but I'd say it looks cool. Okay, so then for the front as well, we do need to do bite panels. Now, normally you would have a door over here on the left-hand side, which actually leads you into the cab, but sadly here, for the sake of looking nice, we need to do something a little bit different and forego practicality. Um, so we're going to go and just fill these out here, and we're going to fill out specifically here. We're going to make what basically looks like a back head on a steam locomotive, but instead, like, it's the nose that's up here. It's not necessarily a firebox boiler. Okay, we're going to grab a few of the locomotive windows, and you can do these with the dark oak windows as well from Rechiseled Create. But yes, okay, so we're going to create this vertical window here, other vertical window here. We're going to create a horizontal window, and then using the 2-pane locomotive, we're also going to create a second horizontal window. This is giving the 4-window effect that is classic with a lot of EMD locomotives. Okay, so then from here, we're going to go ahead and look back at our reference. Okay, so that's all black logo metal. The nose is like that. Okay, cool. I got it. Alright, I filled it all in with black logo metal, and we're going to grab some copycat layers to finish off the nose here. I'm just going to grab some slices, I believe. Sure. And then we're going to go move these out to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And so I do want to mention that that is the magic of the diesel locomotives, is this is what allows you to walk along the side of them, is if you have the copycats at layer 3, you can walk in this little space right here. If they're at layer 4, then that's too thin for the player body to get around, whereas 3 is exactly the right limit for you. We're going to break that because that's not accurate. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So then from here, we're going to go ahead and do 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to move that up 1, I believe. Layer. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to actually go over and make sure that this is right. Right. Okay. So, because with the nose, we don't have doors in the front anyways, and we can't walk alongside it, we're going to up these to 4, just for the sake of looks, because that way we can do some copycat steps, which I believe are somewhere down here. I can never pick them out in this crowd. Bingo. Place these in the corners here, 2, and that's your basic nose shape. Again, that applies to most of EMD's roster. And so we're going to fill these in with the black locometal. And then from there, we're going to grab some smoke boxes, some tanks. On the very front, I believe that's still just black slash. It is black slash locometal. Cool. Okay. Black tank. Oh, hold on. Tank. Steel tank. Here we are. I do want to mention, I keep going back and forth, not because, well, okay. It is because my memory is terrible, but also because when I built this locomotive initially, it was like maybe like 3 in the morning, and I was tired as hell and just kind of wanted to do something for the sake of doing something. So that's why it's a little all over the place, but okay. Anyways, so I did actually mess this up, and these are supposed to be the black slash locometal, so that way we can do, sorry, these are meant to be slabs. So that way we can do the alignment right here. And then we can go ahead and do a vertical tank there, and copy to the other side. So yeah, I don't remember much about this one. I'm getting the general feel for it, but it is slightly hard doing these without really any rehearsal. Because, you know, if you build the same locomotive enough times, you do get a little burnt out and you kind of don't want to do it anymore. um, that is unless you come back to it every now and then, because taking breaks does help a lot with that kind of thing. That's why I often do rebuild the same locomotive over and over again, is because I've taken a break and I've gotten new eyes on the situation. And I'm like, hey, maybe this block would actually work better here, when previously my viewpoint was that no, it would look terrible. um, okay, so then we're going to do the railing here. So basically we're using the iron railings in tandem with the slices here. Uh, basically just trying to recreate this shape the best we can. Uh, yeah, because the railings here are not symmetrical, specifically with the idea that there is a sort of device on the side of the locomotive here. I'm not sure what it is, but I can model it real quick. Do a copycat, stacked half layer. So we're going to do 1, 2, 4, and then we're going to grab, because it is more of a rounded thing, it's some kind of reservoir tank. So we're going to put that in there, and then we're going to fill that in with a black steel tank. But yeah, that right-hand railing is more so an access point, whereas this is an actual door in the locomotive, so that's why it's more stepped. Um, yeah. And then for the rest of that, we can also go ahead and do the lights, and I can show you the different nose configurations. So specifically, we've got these. So these are my single lights. This is my dual light, and then these are the ditch lights. Then as well, I did forget one thing, which is this little half layer right here. That's going to be one. Hold on. What? Oh, okay. I see. Because this has to kind of be up a layer, I believe, actually. And then we throw that there. Okay. So this is a little half layer. That is part of the anti-climber, but it's also like a little foothold, I guess, but that's going to be only one layer tall. Anyways, so these are going to be your marker lights. Right, these are just little 2x2 lights. They're cute. This in here is my dual beam. So a lot of SD40s have either the nose light or the hood light, or sorry, the nose light or the light above the cab. Some railroads did both, some did only one. So you can do something like that. Oh, hold on. Right, I had two of those. Hold on. Grab the other one. Okay. And there we go. So yeah, you've got marker lights here. Then as well, you've got your dual beam light right here. For this locomotive, I'm going to throw that on the hood just because I think it looks nice. But for future reference, typically that's either on the nose or the hood, or both. There's a few different configurations for that. But typically when it is on the hood over here, these are not a thing, and instead you have the ditch lights more so within the pilot, right? But I don't necessarily like how that looks as accurate as that is, so I prefer to use my Armorer's Workshop models. But typically, when you do have the ditch lights above the pilot, you also have the nose light like that. So instead, I'm actually just gonna leave that like that. I changed my mind. That's gonna stay like that. Okay. As well, we're gonna go and grab the horns that I made. And those are going to go on the left side. Now, normally those would just go on the top of the locomotive cab, but that's also kind of a hard thing to do because that would require this to be a full block, or for me to create a copycat, or rather a Armorer's Workshop block that did that. Or that was basically this full block plus the horn, so I'd have to recreate that entirely. Now, would that look better like that? Honestly, kinda. That kinda works. Down with that? Sure, let's go with that. Okay. After a little bit of bullshit, that is the front of the locomotive. Now we get into the rear, the long hood, of which we're actually going to grab specifically some tanks and a whistle. So that way you can have a pseudo horn. But because it's a horn, we're going to grab, or we're going to push this to level 3. So specifically, we've got 1, 2, 3. It should be the fattest, largest one. We have some seats. Throw that, actually, no, so we do have to throw those on the, we do have to throw the seat on the middle right here because we are reserving both these sides for doors, of which we're going to use specifically my black Locometal folding doors because I think the windows kind of look better for this specific application. Boop, boop. And I am going to place them on either side despite them only really being one-sided just for the hell of it. Because I think they're only supposed to open on this side, I believe, and there's no door here. And then not to act as this as a firebox. What is that? Sorry. Not for firebox purposes, but instead for simply self-driving purposes. We are going to throw a blaze burner in here, which is sadly not accessible from the seat. You do have to get out to use it, but eh. Okay, so now we get to do the long hood, of which that's going to require some copycat layers, of which this whole thing is primarily copycat layers. And as well, we need some slices, I believe. And we'll grab some steps too, just in case I'm wrong about that. Okay, so from here, we're going to go ahead and do, let me make sure I'm right on about this. Okay, full block, half block, full block. Okay, cool. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. And we're going to repeat this on both sides. These are all going to go out to 3. Because again, we want to be able to walk alongside the locomotive. 2, 3. Okay. Well, actually, we're gonna get rid of that one because typically there's a bit of a longer foothold on the rear. Yeah, that's right. Come on. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now we're gonna have to do these stacked layers. 3, 1, 2, 3. You know what? We are just gonna roll these in. So 1, 2. Copy. Move over to a few blocks. Paste. Paste. Paste that in. Paste that, except we're going to remove these two. And then we're going to do the same thing here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay. Now, because this is a lower block, that's actually going to paste wrong. So we have to undo that. We're going to go over to the left here and just slash paste. But on the edge of the block, there we go. Because, so, with the way World Edit works is, so right here, I'm on the block that I'm in front of, right? This is correct. But if I go to just the edge over here, at the very edge, I'm on the next block, technically. Okay. Paste, paste, paste. So that way you can kind of get it, or get around the idea of a block being slightly lower for whatever reason. Okay, now we get to copy this down here. Copy. And we're going to move that. We're going to hope I got this right. Nope. There we are. Peak. Alright. From here, we're going to go ahead and do... So these are actually going to be copycat half layers. Those are not going to be slabs because the entire top of the long hood is flush with the top of the cab. So, from there, do some layers and some more layers, and we're gonna wrench those out, and we're just going to / copy, paste, 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 paste. There you go. And that is going to be your long hood, or at least the base for it. All right. And now we're going to go and do the catwalk railings on either side, of which all we need to do are duplicate this slab right there, add these all the way along the side up to here. Same thing on the other side. 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, we can just kind of copy here. And just to make sure on the other side, because I do have an SD45 model with me just to check on certain details. Is specifically an Aethern one. It's one of the more modern ones, though. It looks very nice. Sadly, not one of the more recent ones with the ditch lights, but eh. But anyways, I don't believe there's actually a thing there, so we're gonna remove that. We are gonna place back these layers. Okay, so we've basically got kind of the same thing over here, but just slightly off. Yeah, in that it's more so something kind of like that than anything. Because it is fully just a open block right there. Anyways, on the other side over here, we're going to flip my model around so I make sure I'm right about this. Yep, so we got our steps here, and then we're going to go ahead and do a little something like this. Well, is that right? No, it doesn't go that far out. So we're going to just remove these bits, and just remove that too. And that's going to be your accurate railings. Alright, well that's most of the locomotive done. We just really have to detail the long hood, and that's going to be really about it. So, let's see here. Grab our black / locometal, grab our smoke boxes, grab our vents as well. We're going to grab some pretty and pink steel. And yeah, So I'm going to create a shape that wraps all the way around the side and the bottom down here. Because one thing I like to do with diesels is I like to make sure that the block behind the railing is as simple as possible. Because if you have a messy looking block behind what is already a kind of messy looking complexly textured block, generally it looks worse. So having something simple behind something complex makes the complex thing easier to comprehend. Alright, we're going to do some vents, of which we want these to be separate, so we're going to move these out by 1 block. Which this is only a thing that really applies to my vents and my connected textures. If you want to do something like this, I would recommend using specifically industrial iron supports for in there, because we're already using a lot of industrial iron here. You can also even throw in like some of the steam and rails encased fans, or sorry, the crate encased fans, and some of the steam and rails radiator fans as well. Okay, from there, we're going to go ahead and do the side that we can see. So we're going to do a tank, and then down here, we're going to need, this starts here, I'm going to do here, So basically, this smooth bit, okay, the texturing I've been doing on the side of long hood isn't going to be exactly accurate because the long hood really is full of a lot of different panels, like access panels and doors, different devices and things that make it easier to maintain the locomotive, despite the fact that it is essentially an engine with a big shell over it. So specifically, I'm just trying to create something that looks nice because trying to create all of those doors and all those different devices would look strange. Now, I might go back through and do that, or try to, because I haven't actually tried to do that, but from my thought process, I don't like how that looks in my head, right? I'm gonna make sure we're getting this thing right, and we are. Perfect. It does actually go all the way down though, so boom. We're gonna do these vents right here, which they actually only go to about there. Grab these grab these slash locometals, and we're gonna do those 2 blocks out. And then to recreate EMD's radiator, which is typically in the center of the locomotive, or the center of the long hood, we're going to grab some slices, which I was right about earlier. And we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're essentially going to do that up until about block number pipe. Okay, I was right about that. I was right about that. Blech. Do that on both sides. There we are. Okay. From there, we get to do more locometal. Yay. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to repeat on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then we are also going to do the rest of the long hood on the top here like that. And we're going to do that there. And so that's one side complete. And that's one side partially done. So let me look through here and figure out what else I need to do. So, let's see, there's a vent up here. There's a vent here, and then from there it's just pretty and pink lighting. Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4. Vent there, and yeah, cool, cool. And I think this would just be black slashed, I think. Unless I'm entirely wrong about that. And then that is our pretty and pink lineup. Do give it a little bit of space because this is kind of like an entirely loco metal train. Oops. All right, well that's pretty much the entire thing done. All I'm gonna do up here is just fill this in with some cut blank black stone, and then we're also going to fill some of it in with the fans. So instead of doing the radiator fans, we're gonna grab some encased fans and see how that looks real quick, because I've never actually tried this. Okay. Boom. Now, how is this gonna look? Is this too wooden, or that's not terrible. Okay, well, see, on the SD40, we've basically got 3 fans up here. We've got 2 fans where this vent is. And then that's really about it. Those are your fans. Now we are going to grab some of these. There are some devices on the top here that I do want to try to recreate. Of which we've got 1, 2. And then there's kind of this little tiny block right there. Boop. And then we're just going to throw a black steel tank right there. And that should be the top profile done. Alright, now for the rear lights, of which for that we do need to grab our horizontal dual beam. I like to throw these ladders in for deco purposes. They're not actually there, but they make flat steel look a little bit less boring. Okay. And we're going to throw our light. Yes, we are going to throw it up there. Now we're going to throw these marker lights right down here. And then throw down our, which I did also, once again, fuck this up. Just moving the railing up a block. And then we're going to throw the single base lights down right there. Or the ditch lights, rather. Alright, and now for some internal work. And we're just going to throw all of our fuel tanks in here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Why am I counting? Because I can just count this with roll it later. And we're going to delete that one. And then leave that open so you can kind of see your fuel capacity. There we go. And I'm also going to do a clock and a placard just because I can. Which we did actually fuck this up because we're actually going to throw a set of controls right there. And then we're going to delete that and then open this one up. There we go. Okay. One last thing is I'm going to add a trapdoor. There we are. Right there. Just for practicality's sake, because it's not... it doesn't really ruin much. It's there, it's practical, it's nice. Alright, well, so that is your SD40-2. All I'm going to do from here is show you how to do the high hood version, and I'm going to glue it together, and then I'm going to drive it around just a little bit. Of which we're not going to do it in that order. We're actually going to glue it and then drive it around, and then I'll show you how to do the high hood. All you're going to do is just glue from this little corner slice right here all the way up to basically like this little L shape above here. Basically there to down there. And then that should be good enough to give you a easy assemble. Footmost bogey must be a station marker. What? There we go. Place that rail back down there. I'm gonna go and hop in the back here. I'm gonna drive or turn around. Nice. And now, there is this kind of shadow glitch that happens sometimes, especially with big boxy locomotives. I don't know how to fix that. There's probably a way to fix that. I'm not that technically savvy, so all we're going to do is here just pull this up slightly. Well, no, because we do actually have to come in and disassemble it so that we can then copy it, and so I can show you the high hood version. Okay. Right, can't open that. Pull it in. Alright, and disassemble. There we go. Cool. So now I'm going to go ahead and select this, and go over here and select the other side. Oh. There's some leftover glue boxes here for something. Oh, queer. I am unsure what that's from. Okay. Now we get to copy from specifically here. And we're going to paste, or we're going to go and paste it back in the workshop over here. Bingo. Okay, so for the high hood variation, we're going to first delete our marker lights and everything. And we're going to go ahead and delete the top of the hood. And then we're also going to delete these windows and fill those in with black loco metal. Then we also get to fill this in with loco metal. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we get to do our layers. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Okay. And that's pretty close to how it looks. Although I am going to make a small modification in that I'm going to remove some of the cut blank blackstone. Absurd, I know. And we're going to streamline this just slightly by allowing the hood to mesh with the top of the roof. And we're also going to do 2, 3, a layer over here. 2, 3 to give it just like a little bit of texture here. All right, and then the front of that hood is going to look like ladder, single lights, dual horizontal light, and then our front bell right here. Because we are going to add a bell, because I like bells. Also going to deselect that, so we don't have that ugly box over here. I'm going to grab our smoke boxes, and actually, I do kind of like how that looks better, because it helps separate the entire hood from looking like a big box, because, well, it is a big box, but this way it looks like a slightly less boring big box. Okay, grab our dual beam, and we're going to throw that, I believe, under the bell. So we're going to throw the bell right there, and then throw the dual beam right there, and we're actually going to throw our marker lights a block down. There we go. All right, well, that's going to be your high hood. Famous in the Norfolk Southern. Hopefully not to be dismantled as soon as EMD does their, or sorry, not EMD, as soon as UP does their merger with NS. Ideally. But yeah. So that's really honestly about it. That's all I can show you here. There are a lot of different variations of this kind of locomotive. Like, again, there are a lot of, well, there's like the SD38, SD45, even the SD50, which used very similar looking frames. Um, yeah, that's really about it for this one. I got nothing else left. I might do a variation video for this at some point. But yeah, well, see ya.